scrubbed lady walks over to me. She's carrying a roasted chicken. I look at her. She shoves the chicken into my chest. I go, she goes, this is undercooked. I look down, pink. She gets really close to my face. She goes, you're going to take that off the bill, and I'm going to leave and go make myself throw up, and then we'll talk about this later.
Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments.
I've been in the service industry for 10 years now. I've seen some things. I've said some things. I've served some things. But nothing compares to this shift that I'm about to tell you about right now. Worst shift of my life. I used to work at a big patio restaurant, big beautiful patio restaurant, big beautiful Instagrammable patio restaurant. Not run incredibly well, this patio restaurant, okay? I show up to my shift one Friday night. I seemed to be the only one who did so. I looked around, I said, hello? Nobody else had shown up. I was missing about half my teammates. You know who else didn't show up? The food runner. Uh-oh, person who runs the food from the kitchen to your table. Nowhere to be seen. Hello? No answer. Cool. You know who did show up for their shift? A new line cook. Oh boy, how exciting. On a Friday night? She was sweet, but didn't make the cut.
So the two people that showed up for that shift are the two new people at the job. This is a big red flag. The management of that place has to be very, very terrible for that to actually happen, especially on the weekend too.
Chopped. Okay, so the shift begins. Since we're understaffed, I have a big section, 10 tables. Normally I have about 5, pushing it on a Friday. Okay, 10 tables to my name. I look around, I say, everything the light touches is mine. The night begins, I'm sat. Goes okay. Sat again, within 5 minutes, okay. Goes okay. 3rd table, sits down. 4th table, sits down. Sea level is rising. I'm going, okay. I'm scribbling notes from the shadows, looking around like a little demon, when all of a sudden I see a guy waving at me from across the patio. I scoot over there in my non-slips. I say, yes, sir. He goes, hi, I never do this, but my steak is a little undercooked. Do you think they could cook it a little bit more for me? I said, yeah, of course. I'm so sorry about that. I run it back to the kitchen, okay? About half a mile to the kitchen. Take it in, come back out. Someone else is waving at me from across the patio. I go, hi. They go, no, come here. I said, oh, okay. Squeak, 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 squeak. I squeak over there and I say, yeah. They say, hey, this salmon is not really cooked. I say, oh, deja vu. Okay. So I take it back to the kitchen. 8 times this happened to me that night, okay?
Having to deal with all these people alone will make me really anxious. And then just the fact that all their food is not cooked. Did that chef get trained at all? Like, was there an interview to make sure that this person actually knows their job? Like, this is just giving managerial problems.
In a 10 table section, 8 times people sent their food back to the kitchen. Is a new line cook. She was just slapping food, popping it back off. I said, what are you doing? You're killing me, Smalls. I go back out to the patio. I'm being sat with a 10 top, okay? 10 ladies at one table, all dressed in scrubs, which kind of grosses me out if I'm being honest with you, but, you know, who am I to judge? Anyway, I squeak over there. I say, hi, ladies. What can I begin for you? They all order their food, okay? They're pleasant. They're celebrating life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. American, I suppose. And the night goes on. I'm running. Okay, about the 7th person had sent their food back to the kitchen when all of a sudden, a scrubbed lady walks over to me. She's carrying a roasted chicken. I look at her. She shoves the chicken into my chest. I go, she goes, this is undercooked. I look down, pink.
Okay, and so, like, service workers are not your slaves. They are not your servants, okay? So, even if you have a problem with your meal, communicate like an adult. Don't throw tantrums like you're 2 years old. That's what a 2-year-old child would do, not an adult. Like, she's not your servant. She's literally just trying to bring you your food. I'm pretty sure you can clearly see that she's the only one serving everybody in the restaurant. That alone should make you even a little bit more patient with her.
I say, oh my. She goes, I ate half of it. I say, yeah, I see that because half of it is gone. I look at her tummy. I could still hear the chicken balking from inside. It was so raw. I say, oh. She goes, she gets really close to my face. She goes, you're going to take that off the bill, and I'm going to leave and go make myself throw up, and then we'll talk about this later. I think she thought that I had cooked the chicken for her myself. I think she thought that I had wrung the chicken's neck, plucked the chicken's feathers, slapped the chicken onto the fryer, picked the chicken back up off the fryer before it was ever cooked, and then served it to her myself. I think she was confused about how restaurants work. But anyway, I didn't have time to say all that because she scrubbed away. All of her friends are looking at me from across the patio, and I just go. I turn around, I run into the private bar, immediately start to cry. Immediately. I could barely breathe. Okay, I was having a panic attack. My manager comes in, he goes, take 3 breaths and then go back out there. I said, okay, that seems like enough breaths to continue being a human. So I do so. I go back out slowly but surely. I had to approach that table of ladies. I really didn't want to, but somebody had to pay. So I walk over to them. I say, "Hey ladies, how's your food?" Quietly. They all look at me. I say, "Is your friend okay?" They go, "No, she's throwing up." I say, "Oh, I wish I could do the same." They didn't laugh. Anyway, we comped their food. So no money off that table. Which is funny because when you comp a big check like that, I actually end up having to pay the restaurant. But that's, neither here nor there. Anyway, the rest of the night went swimmingly. And I never saw that line cook again. She left and never returned. Jealous.
Don't return to a restaurant like this either. Honestly, that would have been my first and last day at that job. There's so many managerial issues in their hiring process is very questionable, because when you hire somebody onto a job, you train them first. You make sure they are comfortable. You don't just throw them into the mix and expect them to cook for like God knows how many people on their first day with only one waiter. That demand is so unreasonable, right? Also, the fact that they are making her pay for the meal just because she comped the meal, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Let me check. Okay, I just looked on Google and apparently this is legal. Like, you can actually be charged if somebody did not pay their entire bill. That sounds so unfair to me, because waiters do so much work, and then not only that, they don't even get paid enough. And some people don't even leave a good tip. Now you are making her pay for the food that somebody else couldn't eat just because you didn't hire enough good cooks. I don't know. I feel like this is very unfair. I hope she quit that job though. I didn't see any update on her page, so yeah.
For the people that doesn't know me, I'm a chauffeur, right? I drive a limousine. I ran into celebrity to drive them around. They asked my service. I was really happy, and then they went out at night, and then the whole night they were out, and I make sure I take care of them, and they had fun. Took them back home in the morning and stuff, and then another night go by, and then they asked me to come get them again, and then they went out and I went with them. So long story short, I give them 3 nights of service. I lost 3 nights of my sleep, and so in total, like, I drove them around hourly, so that sums up to 26 hours, 26.5. So that's at $85 an hour, and it comes out around $2,200, a little over $2,200. So you might ask, like, why don't you ask your money every night that you serve them? Well, the answer to that is because I was excited, and then I don't want to look money hungry, because I want them to use me for future.
Always ask for a deposit or ask for your money upfront. I know he said he doesn't want to come across as he's only doing it for the money, but you can never tell what people will do. I know it's uncomfortable to have conversations about money with people, but if you don't ask for your money, unfortunately, some people will take advantage of you if they can.
So that's why I didn't really mention the money too much, because they still was using me for service. Take them around and give me addresses, take them there, pick them up, yada yada, and then I asked for my money. And they're like, okay, we'll take care of it tomorrow. This is really late, and we'll take care of it tomorrow. And then the next day I called them, no answer. I text, no response, leave me on read. So, and then after a multiple attempt, I got respond like, oh, sorry for the inconvenience, we've been through this and that, and then we'll pay you, I'm like, that's fine, I understand. And just, what can I expect? They asked me my Zelle account and all of that, and just never got back to me. And then I kept calling, no response. So now, it's March 22. It's been 12 days. I have tried every method. I try to be polite and patient. Just, it looks like they're trying to scam me. So I kind of know what to do, but I was trying to be nice and not being too dramatic about it. But $2,200, that's a lot of money. So I would appreciate it if they would pay my money, so I don't have to go to court to claim anything. That would sucks. And these people, they don't have no money issues. they are worth millions of dollars, and they're really gonna make me to go to court for a couple $1,000s. It really sucks. So if they end up seeing this video, I hope they will get back to me to give me my money. If not, I guess I'm gonna have to do what I need to do. It's really fucked up. Here I thought I got a geek. I'm gonna make good money. I was excited for nothing. Y'all wrong for this, man.
Unfortunately, some people don't mind taking advantage of others. As sad as it sounds, that's just the nature of some people. So you have to protect yourself, you know. At the very least, you should get a deposit. I had a friend that this happened to her. This company contacted her to make a logo for them. And the moment she made the logo, they ghosted her. If you don't get some of that money up front, you don't know if this other person is going to hold their own end of the deal, right? Unfortunately, sometimes you might have to sue them. Like in this situation, you might have to sue them. Otherwise, they might not give you your money, you know, which is sad though, because as he said, they are millionaires. So they shouldn't have any problem paying him his money, you know. I understand that, yeah, maybe they had a lot going on, but for 12 days, to hold somebody's money for 12 days, come on. I just think that they didn't want to pay him. If he didn't come on TikTok, they might have never paid him his money. But I'm going to play the update.
Hello, TikTok family. I have a final update. I received my full amount of payment. They paid me in full. I got the remaining today. So those folks don't want me anything no more. Anyways, I got paid in full, so we have no problems now. And thank you guys. Thank you for my TikTok family. Like I said before, this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you guys. I appreciate it. And for you, Mr. Sir, that call me I'm a clout chasing. No, I'm not a clout chaser. I wouldn't have to make a video or say anything.
The fact that he had to make a TikTok video for them to pay him, it just tells me that these people had the full intent of scamming him. What if he didn't come on TikTok and say his side of the story? They might have never paid him. Unfortunately, with some people, not because you are kind to them means they'll be kind to you. You know, they'll take advantage of you if they can.
Or asking for my money if you guys just paid me in time, you know. If you had to pay me in the time you owed me, if I didn't wait 3 weeks to get my own money, I wouldn't have to make any video. You wouldn't have to worry about me. So correct that. I'm no clout chaser. It's not in me. I am a hardworking family man. Okay. Anyways, you guys won't have to worry about me anymore. So we good. No threats. All right.
Calling him a clout chaser is just ridiculous to me. Because if he wanted clout, he could have made this video a long time ago. This man waited 12 whole days before he started complaining that you guys can't pay me my money or else I'm going to sue you. Before they paid him, how is he the one that is the clout chaser? If you offer a service like this, at the very least, you have to ask for a deposit. At least let that deposit cover your costs, just in case you have a situation of a client flaking on you. Because if this man didn't make a video, they might not have paid him, and lawsuits are expensive unless he goes to small claims courts. From what he's saying, it sounds like these people are actually from out of town. How are you going to be able to sue somebody that is out of town if you cannot find them? At bare minimum, ask for a deposit that covers your costs. And I'm glad that he got his money back though, because these people, they did him wrong.
Whenever I'm waiting on a table and their card declines, I always do the same thing. I never tell them that their card has been declined. I always write a little note that says, card is not being accepted. I put it back into the checkbook and I return it to the table knowing that when they open the checkbook to sign the credit card receipt, they will see the note. In this day and age, there are so many reasons why someone's card would be declined. It's not like back in the day when if your card got declined, it automatically meant you just didn't have any money in the bank. So there's not so much of a stigma around it anymore, but I know that it can still be embarrassing for people, so I try to be as discreet as possible. And I've always had success with this. I've had many people over the years thank me for being discreet about the fact that their card has been declined. It's typically been people who were either on a date or were part of a larger group.
Honestly, if my card declined, I would really appreciate it if the waiter handled it like this. I used to have an old card that had some of the plastic peeling off. So sometimes when you go to pay, it doesn't work, at the first time. You have to kind of put it in a certain way. So if somebody handled it like this for me, I know I'm definitely going to appreciate it.
But several months ago, I had this guy. He was part of a couple, a man and a woman. And for some context, I don't think he was a very nice person, like in life. The energy coming off of him and the way that he talked to me from the moment he sat down was all very negative. And there was definitely an unhealthy dynamic at play in their relationship. And normally I do not think that you can accurately assess a relationship between two people just from waiting on them for a couple hours. But in that situation, I think they were the exception. There were many things that indicated to me that there was an unhealthy dynamic going on. But one of the most glaring was the fact that he sat there and ordered a 3-course meal with multiple drinks, and she just had a glass of wine the entire time. Nothing else. By the end of the night, it seemed like he had relaxed a little bit. It kind of mellowed out. His interactions with me were slightly better than they had been towards the beginning of the night. He was never actually nice to me, but maybe closer to neutral. So it comes time to pay the bill. He puts the card in the book. I run the card. It's declined. I always run the card 2 or 3 times just to make sure that it is actually being declined. I write my little note, put it in the book, return it to the table. After I return the note to the table, I always, do a quick lap or do something, spend about 30 seconds or so away from the table, which gives them enough time to find another form of payment. I don't need to be standing there hovering over them while they're fumbling around for another form of payment, like we're all adults here. When I return to the table, he's holding the checkbook in his hands and he thrusts it at me. And he's like, "So you couldn't just wait for me to get my card out?" He was so rude when he said it that I actually paused for like a millisecond. And then I said, "Sir, I apologize. I was just trying to give you a moment to find another form of payment. I did not want to hover over you while you were doing so."
Honestly, that makes sense to me though. It's just being considerate and you don't want the other person to feel uncomfortable, right? To me, that makes perfect sense. I don't know why some people feel they need to be rude to other people just because they are your waiter or your waitress. Honestly, I really don't see a point in it. Even if you didn't like the way the waitress handled something, you don't have to be rude. You can communicate without being rude.
And then he just starts rambling a bunch of stuff about how I wanted to embarrass him for his card being declined by making him sit there and wait for me to come back to the table, like some other nonsensical stuff. But his voice just kept getting louder and louder, and like other tables were turning around to see what the fuck was going on. And I couldn't understand it because I was thinking to myself, like, no, if I wanted to embarrass you, I would have walked over to the table and loudly announced, "Your card has been declined, sir." And it wasn't even his card. The card that was declined had a woman's name on it.
It's crazy because she didn't try to embarrass him, but now he's the one like yelling at her and bringing attention to the fact that his card declined. He's the one literally embarrassing himself.
And I think that's partially what set him off, is that he didn't expect to have to pay for his own meal. He expected the woman sitting next to him or whatever woman's name was on that card to be paying for that meal he ate. So earlier this week, I was hanging out with a group of people. Several of those people also have or currently work in the restaurant industry. We were all just, cracking jokes and telling stories about weird customers. And I told this particular story. And one of the people in the group was like, "Well, why didn't you just stand there and wait? Why would you walk away? Why would you just not give him a chance to give you another card?" And I told them that the whole purpose of me putting the note in the book is to be discreet, and that me standing there waiting for them to find another form of payment is calling attention to the fact that their card was declined. And also, to me, it seems like me standing there while they're finding another form of payment kind of looks like I don't trust them to pay, like I have to stand guard because I suspect that they're going to run out on the bill. This person was adamant about 2 things. That one, me writing a note and putting it in the book is childish because as an adult, I should be communicating effectively, and that means verbally saying to them, your card has been declined. And also that my actions could be considered rude or disrespectful because I am, in fact, making them wait longer when they are paying because they're ready to leave. And I'm still kind of trying to parse through that because it doesn't make sense to me. And I've never, ever had an issue with it before that one guy. But I'm curious, would you consider me putting a note in the book that says card not accepted? Would you consider that to be rude or childish or disrespectful? I'd love to hear your opinion.
I honestly don't find that to be disrespectful. I think it's more considerate than being disrespectful, right? Especially if you're on a first date. If your card declined, will you like your waiter to tell you that your card declined? No, because that would be so embarrassing. I think it's not disrespectful at all. Yeah, as she said earlier, I think the guy didn't expect to pay for his meal because he had 3-course meals and he probably thought that lady's card was going to be able to pay for everything, and now he came to the realization that he had to pay for his own meal. And I think that's where his own anger stems from, because if he's disrespectful, as your co-workers said, then you will have more people having complaints about it, but nobody else has had complaint apart from this guy that's using some other woman's card to pay. So in my opinion, he's just mad that he had to pay for that meal out of his own pocket, and he's just transferring that anger to you. And to the point her friend made that she's making them wait a little bit longer, she sounds like a very considerate person. I just can't see a situation where she gives them the check back and then she wanders around. I'm pretty sure she's probably going to step away for like a few minutes and then come back and get the check again. So in my opinion, she did nothing wrong. In fact, I think this is a very kind and considerate thing to do.